drop! Get off the road! Clearly, you don't own an air fryer. Indeed.
This just keeps on getting worse for
Let's
me.
go!
Trevor, how does it feel to be the world's most toxic gamer?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new series on the Goobers and Screens book club series. I'm joined today by Brandon. Brandon, say hello.
Hello. How are you guys doing today?
They're hopefully good, and
I think
we're
they're
starting.
hopefully bad.
I was gonna say we on accident. I have started reading Bleach. Brandon's a bit ahead of it, and we're starting our book club discussions by talking about the first half of the Substitute arc.
Yeah, how fun is that? So a bit of background. Bleach is honestly one of the first shonen I ever watched, really. Yeah, I have seen it. It holds my personal record for most anime I've ever binged. Like just my binging record, in that I watched the first 60 or so episodes of Bleach in 2 days. It is certainly something that I've done, and certainly a record that will never be
Somebody
beaten.
left the door open.
Okay, Trevor, who's your favorite character from Bleach? Go.
From Bleach?
Yeah.
Korok.
Monkey D. Luffy.
That's so true. I love that little guy, that little stinker.
It is so true. Okay, I'm going back to the other voice chat.
Yeah, you have a wonderful time, Trevor.
Anyway,
Yeah, so I will never beat that record, and it's just I really enjoyed it, and I watched a little bit more of the anime after. I could never really get back into it after that. But then I was like, Kyle and I've been reading manga. I was like, well, let's read Bleach, and I actually read up to a little bit under where I watched in the anime recently. So this is all more fresh on my mind, and I'm reading along with Kyle. But I know Bleach. I know. So those of you who are Bleach terminologists, I've watched I've watched a little bit into the Car arc, so I know everything from Substitute and everything from Soul Society. I know a bit from the Car arc. But it's we're gonna have some fun. This is Kyle's first experience with it.
So to give my background on Bleach, it's kind of the inverse. I know nothing about it. It's similar to how I started One Piece, in which it's one of the big three shonen, and I'm kind of shocked that I've gone this long without knowing any spoilers for Bleach. Like, because with One Piece, I made it, I'd say, like, up to Dressrosa / Whole Cake without like future spoilers. Naruto, I already knew a lot about going in, so it's just nice having another big series to get into, and just knowing nothing about it. I'm completely brand smack dab new to this, so let's just get right into it.
Yeah, you're leading the discussion. You got the notes.
Yeah, so I do have the notes. Yeah, I'm not gonna fully just read them down because that'd be boring, but we can go through arc by arc. So mini arc. Sorry. So the first mini arc it's the first chapter. We see Ichigo. We get introduced to him, his school, his family, and then and you know what? Rukia shows up.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah. So the whole gist of it is we get introduced to the world of Bleach, where there exists spirits, and there are two different types of spirits: wholes and hollows. Wholes are led to the Soul Society, which, if I had to explain it from what I am guessing, it's like this world's version of like a heaven or something. That's the most I have so far. It's like they try to guide the souls who are the good souls to this Soul Society place, and then for the souls that remain on Earth, they can often go hollow, where they get corrupted, and it's up to the Soul Reapers to essentially put them out of their misery and kill them finally and lead them to the Soul Society. I really do like the world of Bleach. I mean, right now, it's a bit slower paced, and after what we've read, not going to refer to it, I appreciate a bit of the slower pace. It's nice to be able to just sit down and read just a fun manga. It feels like it has the episodic misadventure vibe, where every couple chapters they're in a new arc, doing something new, like a new mini arc, doing something new. I do like Rukia's introduction, and sorry, I'm just trying to gather all my thoughts here from like the notes. I like where we are now. I like Ichigo going around fighting the Hollows and just learning more about his world. So
yeah, I think the beginning of Bleach is definitely super solid. First substitute arc up until the end of substitute arc, which you'll get there. It definitely is a simpler shonen. Whenever we were deciding whether or not to read Bleach, it was actually a while ago now. We had a couple different people weigh in, and one of them weighed in and said it definitely, at least at the beginning, feels like an early 2000s shonen. And that's 100% true. It definitely does. But hey, I like that. Bleach, it does get more complicated and more serious later on. If you know, you know. But this beginning part, I mean, yeah, no, it's simple. I think it's a super solid introduction to the characters and laying the groundwork for what then is later built upon. At least in Soul Society, as far as I know.
I would say at worst, my worst opinions are sometimes it just feels too slow. But those moments are very, far and few between. Yeah. Where there's always something happening or some small thing that's added to the world. I think, as a side note, we'll talk more about it like later. But I like his style of humor. In like just some like the fun gag stuff where it's like in one of the later arcs where it's like, why did my sister's clothes disappear? Where's Rukia at? Rukia jumps out of his closet like, we have a mission. It's like, why are you there?
Yeah, she lives there. What can I say?
Yeah, and because like the setup to that was she's like, I found my own place, and he goes, oh, cool. So she's not in here anymore. Or like the mini arc we get with Cone, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I wish I had more to say about this first chapter. I just like the introduction to it.
Yeah, it's super solid.
Yeah, it's a solid introduction. Moving on to the next little event, we see that Ichigo, in transforming into a Soul Reaper, has taken much more power than Rukia expected, as in, Rukia doesn't have enough power to return to the Soul Society.
Yeah, lol.
Now, Ichigo has to do... Well, not has to, which will tie into what's going to happen in a second. He's doing her job, because we get... It's a nice moment where Rukia is trying to have him do it. He's like, I don't want to be a Soul Reaper. And she's like, all right, fine, come with me. They go to a park, and she's like, yeah, right now Hollow's going to show up. And it starts attacking like this kid. And Rukia's like, don't save that kid unless you're going to commit. Because she's trying to show him, like, you can't have both. You either have to be the full-on Soul Reaper job, or you just ignore it and let more people get hurt. To which Ichigo says, fuck it, I'm just going to do both anyway, but I do owe you for saving me and my family, so I'll do it for now. And I think that was a good place to have Ichigo's mindset on being a Soul Reaper with. Yeah,
no, I mean, it's a super, you have the generic, the hero is like, oh, I don't want to be a hero. And, it gives him his motivation, kind of, at least for this first little section here. It gives him his motivation to be a Soul Reaper whenever he was kind of just thrust into it. It's solid. I mean, what can I say? It doesn't have quite as electric of a start as more modern shonens will have.
That's what I was saying.
And it's another thing of modern shonens will typically have, thinking of Black Clover here, and this is just a little trope and whatnot of the hero being someone who is underwhelmed or something, or hated or looked down upon for whatever reason. And Bleach doesn't do that. I mean, I guess you could say oh well, Ichigo has his orange hair. People look on him. It's not really the same. Ichigo starts off. He's a cool guy. He has friends. And it's through his own willpower. He willingly becomes a Soul Reaper. Out of necessity. I'd say it's kind of akin to slight spoilers for the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen here. But it's kind of like Yuji just willingly eating Sukuna's finger. It's kind of a similar vibe to that. I think it does show its age. I think it is older. It's an older art style. I love Bleach's art style, especially later Bleach, but early Bleach is still very good.
Art style is amazing. And one thing I want to add on to what you're saying about the underwhelming. I'm not a huge fan of that trope where it's like, oh, this loser, powerless person, and he looks so looked down upon. Ichigo, the first instance of it being him looked down upon is at the end of what we're going to discuss with the character named Yuryu. That's the first time it happens, and it's in the chapter 30s.
Yeah, and even then, it's not like society itself. Yeah, I mean the intro is
No,
extremely
it's not
solid.
exciting. And
And
like
then-
what you said, where we learned that with his orange hair, he's bullied or whatever. But that is not the same as like the comparison you made to Asta. Like Asta is looked down by every single individual. Ichigo is a cool guy. He has a family that loves him. He has friends. He's a normal kid, somewhat normal, pulled into this whole supernatural world, and it's jarring for him and it's jarring for the reader. So that's what I like about its introduction. It's something different than what I've been reading, so I do appreciate it.
And also, he can see ghosts off the bat. That's something that's established. Like with
You
his
get
family, he can see ghosts. Karen can see ghosts, and Yuzu can see ghosts. All three of them.
I can't say normal kid. Yeah, that's pretty important to mention. Yeah, you can see. Also, his sister can. I mean, not as good, but
Yeah.
one.
Both of them can. Karen and Yuzu can, but Karen has more spirit energy or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a family of people who can see ghosts.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd say the first proper arc is the arc with Orihime's brother Sora.
Yeah, what'd you think?
This was the moment where not only was I already a fan of I like the art style, I like the character designs. I think,
Dude, Ichigo is consistently the single most stripped out shonen protagonist. He is so icy, like 99 out of 98% of the time. And we're back. Welcome back. Yay. Fun break for everyone. Love to see it.
Sorry about that, folks. Had to take a call. I'd say, because what I was saying, not only do I like the art style, I like the character designs, I think the designs of the hollows are really cool. And it wasn't until this arc that the first two hollows were okay, but this was the first hollow design that I really liked, where Orihime's brother was like a snake. And it also ties into their design, also is reflective of what powers they have, because they seem to have both animalistic and typical shonen power stuff. Like Orihime's brother can spit poison and it looks like a snake. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to think that like when holes corrupt into hollows, they take on a more animal form. I don't know how true that holds up later, but at least for now, that's pretty much been what it's like.
It's an interesting thought. It's a very interesting thought.
What we see with the other ones, and I can explain more of the animalistic traits as we get there, but this was a short, simple arc. We also learned why hollows go to eat people, which, again, I'm not saying like it was mind-blowing revelation, but it was pretty interesting to see how they only eat souls to like quell their pain. They're in pain in this form, and most typical hollows, and so they go for their family members as, if I remember correctly, consuming them, like the source of where pain happens, will ease their pain the most.
Yeah, that is how it is described. It's pretty accurate, I'd say.
And that's what happened with Sora, where Sora, I forget how he died, but he took...
It was a car accident.
Car accident, yeah. And, okay, so the whole backstory was, you just reminded me of everything. He died, Orihime prayed for him every single day. But when she got older and met Ichigo and other people, that's all she would talk about in her prayers, and eventually just forgot him. And he was hurt being forgotten, so he just wanted Orihime to be with him. It's very touching. I mean, okay, not trying to kill her, but the revelation, him willingly like killing himself, like while I'm in a state of control, I don't want to hurt Orihime more than I already have. I'm sorry. Like it was a good arc.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Also shows that, hollows are still in a way human. They're once human souls, and so they still have their memories and their proclivities and all that. It's a good showcase of all that, I feel.
Mm-hmm. And then the next arc was not the first arc. This is probably one of my favorite mini arcs so far, where we get not only this cursed soul parakeet, where in every chapter, like every mini arc of Bleach, we learn more about souls and how they can function. We get introduced to Chad, one of my favorite side characters.
I love Chad so much.
I love Chad. So the whole premise of this arc is there's this parakeet with a parrot soul and a human soul, and later on we find out it's quote unquote cursed, where anyone that possesses it dies, like anyone who owns the parakeet. And we find out it's because that there's this, I just call him this flying bomb reaper. Basically, in his previous life, he was a criminal, a murderer.
Serial killer, yeah.
Serial killer. He killed this little kid's mom.
It's is it Yoichi or Yuichi or something?
I don't remember
I think
the
it's
name.
Yuichi.
It sounds right. He kills this kid's mom, and then he dies before he can escape. I think he falls off like a balcony. So then he goes hollow, traps this kid's soul in a parakeet. Right? Am I remembering this correctly?
Uh-huh.
And basically he's fucking out the kid where it's like, hey, look, play my game, and your mother's still alive. You escape me for as long as you can. If you can long enough, I'll give you back your mom. And then his mom is dead.
Yeah, lol.
So
honest.
I forget where Ichigo was at the first part of the fight, but we see Rukia trying to help Chad fight it off. Where was Ichigo in that moment? I forgot.
He was off. Karen was there, and he was taking her to a safe place.
Oh yeah. No, so that was his sister, right? He was taking one of his sisters to a safe place. So while he was doing that, this was just so badass. Chad was fighting this Reaper without being able to see it or know that he was even making contact.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. I know that this isn't that typical of like a shonen. So I'd have to remember some of them, but I really do enjoy the ones where it's like one person can see the creature and has to point out where it is to the another person to fight it.
Yeah.
I always enjoy. They don't happen often, but when those types of fights happen, I really do enjoy them. Just because Chad's all the more badass for it.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Chad.
And this flying bomb reaper, if we're talking about animal traits, it could fly. It had this weird tongue thing. It had little copies of itself, like little
exploding leeches.
Yeah, it could produce leeches. So once again, more animal stuff. So if a leech latches onto you, it clicks its tongue, and then those leeches explode. And then Ichigo shows up, partway through, and comes in and finishes the fight, and then has the kid. Doesn't he go back to the Soul Society?
Yeah, they do the the Konso, I think it's called, where
where they
send the soul.
Yeah, that was a great arc. I mean, there's not too much of note to say in terms of like huge weight, but other than Chad, because Chad's awesome.
Yeah, total Chad. Am I right? Lol, that's so funny. I'm actually, fun fact. I'm actually the first person to ever make that joke ever. Fun fact.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm the first person to ever make that joke ever.
Oh, and then at the end of this fight, one thing because we brought up the fact that he was a serial killer. Whenever, because Rukia makes this point, whenever this Reaper's defeated, this giant gate opens up, and Ichigo is like, "What the hell is that?" She's like, "Oh, it's the gate to hell." We can
based.
It was pretty based, and she explained it as we can only cleanse what hollows have done while hollowed. Anything before that isn't up for us to decide. And since he was a serial killer in his past life, he's going to hell. And it's one of those where I always like the slight world building in every Bleach arc. In every mini arc, we're learning something more about the world. We're getting introduced to information bit by bit. And then it all it's relevant later on. Like we see these principles that they bring up being applied, such as this next arc. So the next arc is there anything you want to add at the moment? I know I've been doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're hitting a lot of it. What you call it? Yeah, it's solid. Yeah. And I don't want to talk and accidentally say something and be like, "Whoops."
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Man, isn't it crazy how Ichigo still only has 3 arms at this point? Oh, whoops.
3. But speaking of like building off the previous arcs, Rukia's like, "All right, Ichigo, look. I can't be there every time to push you into Reaper mode. Like, if something happens, you need to be able to go into Reaper mode yourself."
Yeah, to go Ghost.
I'm going Ghost, going Phantom. So, what they decide is there's this shop with some people who are also part of like the whole Soul Society thing. As far as I know.
Jinta,
I'm
Ududu, and
Tensai.
Tessai, I think his name is. The tall guy with the glasses is the only one that I can't be certain.
I am just gonna call the guy with the funny hat and clogs, because that's what Ichigo calls him. That's the only thing I remember by. So they go to pick up this thing called the soul candy, which once again it was funny how Rukia's like, I wanted the bunny rabbit, but I got whatever this was. It was like a Pez dispenser, little Pez dispenser.
Wanted Chappie, good old Chappie.
And what it is you eat it, a temporary soul takes over your body, pushes you out, and then you can come back and return to it. So
and they use it for their Gigai, which is what Rukia is currently in.
Yeah. So Ichigo pops one, goes to fight off a hollow, and we eventually find out that what he ate was a defective. So there's a whole different scheme to it. I'm just gonna call it the mod soul.
Yeah.
So it's the last of its, as far as I know, it's one of the last few of its kind, because there were a batch of defective souls, and we found out that there were. You're gonna have to explain what I'm getting wrong here. If I'm getting anything wrong here, they tried making these warrior type souls, and a couple of them ended up being defective.
Oh well, they just scrapped the project.
Okay,
that's what it was. Is they wanted to make these fake souls, these artificial souls that would take over the bodies of whatever, animals or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then they would help them fight hollows. But they decided to scrap the project. I can't remember exactly why, if they gave a reason.
Yeah, and so they decided to they decided to recall all of these mod souls, but this one that we meet kind of slipped through the cracks, and he's defective because he can't hurt or kill anyone. That's just he can't bring himself to cause anyone harm. So after it's a small arc. After a little bit of a chase, and he saves some kids. I also like Ichigo kind of thinking maybe he's not such a horrible guy. Everyone wants to recall him, says he's defective, but he saves kids. He's not a bad person. He doesn't like fighting. So they decide to stuff him into a little teddy bear, which that was out of one of the few things I knew about Bleach coming into it. Not even Bleach. I swore that there was some shonen or some anime where they had a stuffed lion companion. This was it.
Cone or Con. I think it's Cone. I say it Cone.
Con, whatever. But yes, I really did like that mini arc. There wasn't any hollow fighting. It was a break from the hollow fighting, which is certainly nice. And a little bit more Bleach world building, always appreciated. Excuse me. And we also see that not everything needs to have violence to solve the problem.
Yeah, no, it's a good little insight to Ichigo, Rukia, Kisuke, Kon, all them. It's a good little insight to all their characters.
This next arc is, out of everything I've read, probably not only is it the most important arc, it's the most standout significant in terms of actual plot impact.
Yeah, this is the first arc that I would be this is a Bleach
arc. The first
kinda.
Proper arc. So we find out that it's June 16th, and Ichigo's not going to go to school tomorrow because, as we learned, June 17th is when Ichigo's mom was killed.
We're actually recording this on June 17th. What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
What a coincidence, huh?
Crazy coincidence. So we hear the story that Ichigo, as a kid, was out with his mom and saw a little girl that he thought was going to fall into the river that was nearby. Ichigo rushes to save this girl, but she disappears. His mom rushes in to save Ichigo and dies in the process because they both fall into the river, and
it's the bus or a train or something.
What?
Ichigo thinks she's going to get hit by a train. The little girl.
I don't remember that. Okay, I thought it was a river.
A river could be involved, but Ichigo thinks that his mom died because she got hit by a bus or a train.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what Ichigo ends up thinking. So what happens is he and his family they get together. They go to a graveyard every year where their mom's tomb is, and they spend the day there. They pay their respects. It's a pretty depressing time. Well, Ichigo, actually one of his sisters, first
Karen. Or maybe it's Yuzu that sees her first. I can't remember.
I think it's Karen, then Yuzu, because Karen's the old
Karen, and then Yuzu comes up. Yeah, Karen's the black-haired one.
Karen's the one that has like better spirit energy than the younger sister.
Yeah.
So she sees this girl, and we as the viewer recognize it as, oh my god, that's the same girl that was at the accident with Ichigo's mom. And so, Karen and Yuzu, they encounter this ghost girl. That's what I called her at first. And she reveals herself to be at first, I thought it was an interesting concept that they later explained, where it was like, oh my god, she can control a hollow. That's not exactly the case, but she had a hollow beside her that was going to eat Ichigo's sisters, and then Ichigo shows up, sees that it's the girl, and once again, more animalistic traits. We see that this isn't this the first one we have a proper name for? The first hollow with like a proper name, not like
Sora.
Yeah.
No. The others did have names. I think that this is the first name that we get, but we do learn. I think in a later arc. Within these 35 chapters, still.
We learned the other names,
the others did have names.
Well, I'm
pretty sure that was after Grand Fisher, though.
Yeah, this is the first arc where we meet a Soul Reaper, or not Reaper. We meet a Hollow and learn its name immediately.
Yeah.
So this one is Grand Fisher. So what it does is it throws out this. It has two bodies. The smaller body, it's a lure. Like some animals have those types of like luring traits.
Anglerfish.
Yeah, no, that. Fuck, why didn't I? That one was obvious. I should have said that. Yeah, like an anglerfish, and it draws in people with like high soul energy, and then it eats them. And that's what happened on that day. Where one thing that's interesting is I feel like a lot of other villains always taunt the fact that like, yeah, I killed your mom right immediately. But at first, Grand Fisher's like, oh, did I kill your mom? I've killed so many people, I wouldn't know. And yeah, on that day, she just got unlucky. Wasn't Grand Fisher trying to eat Ichigo at first, because Ichigo had high soul energy, and then ended up eating his mom, and was like, all right, cool, good compromise. So now Ichigo's pissed.
This is where I watched my mother die, Rukia. Cow a bummer.
I forgot you mentioned that earlier. Feel free to Photoshop that on screen or edit that in, because I do think that one's funny. But they have the fight, and I gotta say, I really do like what they did with it. Where Ichigo's not, he's not a proper Soul Reaper yet. I mean, he is, but he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's inexperienced, he's untrained, and even Grand Fisher keeps on calling him Sonny, where it's like, you and I, like, we have tons, like, the gap between us is far. You're not able to, like, beat me just yet, Sonny. I'm gonna kill you and eat you like I did your mom, because it'd be really funny. They fight, and I think the most interesting, two things that stood out to this arc. The first one was Rukia, where Tone was like, Rukia, just go help him. I don't care if he gets pissed at you. He's gonna die if you don't help him. So Rukia runs to help him, like, is on a ledge above them, and she decides to just let him fight. She's like, I can't interfere. Yeah. And it's one of those where a lot of shonen, I mean, think of something like what Cade would say, where it's like, oh, are you really 1v1 because of honor? That's stupid. Help kill the bad guy. But Rukia makes a good point of, okay, if I come in and help Ichigo now, he's never going to be able to, like, forgive himself for that. Like, he's here out. If anyone can help him try to avenge his mom, like, he's never gonna forgive himself if he's weak enough. So I have to let him, either he fights and dies, or I help him and he gets very,
it's not a victory if you help him.
It's not a victory. It's a hollow victory, if you will.
Yeah, that's so funny, Kyle. You were the first person to ever make that joke ever in the world.
Crazy, right? I'm very smart. But they fight for a little bit. I think Rukia does show up at some point. Does she even help him fight?
She doesn't help him fight. She shows up at the end before Grand Fisher gets away.
Yeah, but the one moment I liked is Ichigo lets Grand Fisher stab him, and Grand Fisher's like, I got you now. And Ichigo's like, well, same here, and just cuts him in the head.
Yeah.
Like, pulling in.
Well, it was in the chest.
What?
He didn't cut him in the head. He cut him in the chest.
Oh, in the chest. Sorry.
Yeah, he like cut his arm off basically.
Oh,
Like
sorry,
a lot worse.
What I was trying to like get to was he beats Grand Fisher, but Grand Fisher's like, "Did you forget I have 2 bodies?" And so he just retreats to the secondary body and escapes. And this is what I told Brandon when I was reading this. I expected it to go one of 2 ways, where I expected either Ichigo to win and have his mom's death be resolved this quickly, because it seemed like that's what a lot of mini arcs did. They had like self-contained stories. Or Grand Fisher was going to flat out win. They barely escape. I wasn't expecting a draw. I'll be honest. Like it was by all means a draw.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Ichigo got stabbed. They beat half of Grand Fisher. Grand Fisher was forced to retreat. They couldn't pursue. It was like a stalemate. So the other moment I really appreciated from this arc was when Ichigo was talking to his dad, because I haven't really talked about his dad much. Didn't really care for him up until this point. Ishin. Don't say that name to me. I'm a Sekiro player. I'm getting PTSD.
Oh.
He's talking to Ishin. God, it sounds so weird. So weird to say. And I really liked the chemistry that they had in that moment. Early on, he was kind of not annoying, but I didn't really care for him as a gag character where, oh, he's funny, he's just trying to like tackle Ichigo and is fighting with Ichigo and is being loud or rambunctious, haha. But in this moment, it was like, I forgot what he said exactly, but he was talking to him. It's like, the reason I'm just trying to keep like this is your mother would never forgive me if anything happened to you guys. That's like, I'm trying to, keep everything like happy and good, and she'd kill me if like you guys were terrible, like miserable. Is that what they said? Right? Roughly. He is the way that he is to make his mother happy, or to like make his wife happy from like beyond, where it's like, don't go doubting yourself. It's not your fault. Your mom would kill me if I let you think that it was your fault that she died. You were a kid.
Yeah. He's also just like that. He's also just like that.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that, but to learn like a good character reason as to why he is the way that he is, I really like that. I think it helped flesh him out as a character. He hasn't really done too much else other than that, but it's made me appreciate him more than I would have if this moment didn't exist.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Also, a very important moment I wrote, very important. Kon kisses Ichigo. That's one of my...
That was so hot.
I'm not gonna say that was hot, but it was funny.
That was so hot.
There's also a little thing where Orihime got evicted from her place. I didn't know how important that was, but
it
whatever.
Happens, I guess. To be completely honest, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, I wrote it down because I thought it was gonna go go somewhere as a plot point.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry, they always say. That's how note taking goes. And
then after that, we see Grand Fisher talking to, I just dubbed them in my notes, the mysterious masked man talking to Fisher, where it's like, Fisher, you better not let that happen again. And Fisher's like, I got you. I'm not going to play with my food ever again. And then we see Grand Fisher take on like a new form.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And after, I'd say that's probably the most like tense arc so far, we get a fun little side story with Kon. I liked it. I liked Kon's side story.
He's a fun little guy. He's a funky little dude who gets up to funky little stuff. What can I say?
His whole thing was he was mad at Ichigo and Rukia, tried running away, finding a new family. The only thing important I wrote here was important - Chad loves cute things. That was it.
Yep. That's also the reason why he saved Yuichi.
Because
because he likes cute things. He likes the parrot.
It all comes together. The next arc, it was a pretty good arc. Definitely not one of my favorites because this isn't even a shonen thing. I mean, literally just got done watching an episode of Supernatural where they dealt with something similar, where it's like the professionals who are in the middle of dealing with something with someone who thinks like they act like they're a professional, but they're not.
I quite like Don Kananji.
I do. I'm just saying, like, it's the arc.
Oh, ha, 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 ha. I just did the pose. I know you can't see, but this is an audio-only show. I did the pose.
I can't see. I'm not saying it or doing it. I like him as a character.
Okay,
though.
Ichigo. That's the Ichigo moment. Am I right?
But I do like Don. I'm just gonna call him Don. What was I about to say? You got me on my train of thought. what was I about to say?
Talking about how it wasn't your favorite arc.
I mean, no, it wasn't a bad arc. It's just like
Was it your favorite?
I've seen this exact thing many other places before, and it's not even a shonen thing. It's just a typical writing trope where you have somebody who's the actual expert in the middle of an encounter dealing with someone who is in over their head, who actually does. I mean, literally the ghost facers from Supernatural. That I just got done watching an episode with them. That's pretty much this, except Don actually had some knowledge and skill of what was happening, and he wasn't insufferable. I quite like this character.
Don is a good guy.
The arc setup itself I wasn't a fan of, but I was very surprised at how much I ended up liking Don coming out of it. Because the whole thing is, there's this TV show going around where he just goes like, oh, it's just this fake psychic guy. 1 in 4 people watch him, and there's this big event at like a hospital or something downtown.
Yeah,
so
they're filming an episode next to where Ichigo lives.
They're filming an episode. Ichigo goes with his family, and we get introduced to, let me see, another new concept where Rukia describes it as, I know this isn't the name for both, but there are ghosts that, like, they're demi-hollows. They're between whole and hollow, and they possess either a person or a place. And the one that possesses a place is called a Jibaku, if I got the name right.
Sounds right.
So there's this Jibaku out there, the soul of a dead guy, who's angry that when like his father died or whatever, he didn't get the inheritance for the hospital, and he died, and he's super pissed. And hollows have these holes in their chest, and the hole on the demi hollows are slowly peeling away. In Rukia, in typical fashion for the comedic setup, is like, look, he's not going to turn hollow for another 6 months. And then Don shows up and is basically like, hey, what if I just made that 6 seconds, and starts jamming his cane into the hole?
Yeah. Another important thing to note is the hole there. That is connected to I think it's called the Chain of Fate. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong there.
I think it was.
The chain of that's the name that I remember it being called by, or something similar. And that chain is what in life connects you to your body. But it's also the catalyst of people becoming hollow.
Okay, that's good to note. I got most of the information right, at least.
And there's also the extra chains that he had that was just specific to his spirit and all that.
Yeah.
But specifically, the chain connected to where you become a hollow is the Chain of Fate.
Okay, yeah, that was good to note. So he's basically chained, waiting to go hollow, and like surprisingly, Don can see spirits and can interact with them. He just does the worst thing. He literally walks up to the hornet's nest and starts beating it with the cane. Like he shoves his cane right in the hole, aggravating the spirit, and it goes full hollow. So Ichigo and Don end up in the hospital fighting it, and Ichigo's like, why don't you just piss off and leave? And Don's like, I can't leave. And Ichigo's like, all right, you can't leave this, can't leave that, why can't you leave? To which Don finally explains it as, I am a hero to a lot of kids. Like, a lot of people look up to me, and if I leave now, I'm letting them all down. And he wasn't even, it wasn't even like selfish. He wasn't even like, oh, they'll see me as a facade. He was like, I'm going to let them down, and they're no longer going to have faith in like a hero. I want them to have faith in something, and I want them to have faith in me.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Yeah, no, he was a stellar guy. He did the wrong thing for the right reason. Where he was trying to exorcise the spirit from what he thought he could do. Just so happens that this was Soul Society business. The creature they fought, I know it had like spit that was very sticky and gluey, and it stuck Ichigo's hands to his sword.
Yeah.
So I forget what animalistic shape it took on, but I think it was like a frog.
Like a frog. A very wide face.
It was a frog. It was a frog hollow, and so Don manages to help Ichigo beat the spirit, and they have the ending to their arc. Is there anything important that I'm missing?
Not really. It was just it's a fun little arc. I liked Don. I liked all the character little interactions there. Some of the school friends can be a little bit forgettable. But hey, I think they're great. I love seeing their little interactions with each other.
Yeah, Don was an awesome guy.
And then next we have like 3 chapters or something of the next little mini arc.
Yeah. So, let's see. Oh, sorry. Hold on. All right, there we go. The next arc, it's rather short. I could sum it up simply put as after the principal gets. I didn't get why he was so mad that they were on TV. Like they never. I don't know why he was mad.
It's just like it's the same reason why your school is like, hey, try not to wear like your school gear if you do stuff stupid because it reflects badly on the school.
True. But again, in context, Ichigo is trying to do a good thing, and all the friends are trying to help. But
they don't know that.
That's true. I didn't understand why in the moment, because again, after I had read it, after I read the whole down thing, I think I read that next arc like the next day. So
yeah,
let's see. But yeah, after that, Rukia, the Dawn shows up to Ichigo's house. Nothing really happens with that, but
he's iced out.
He's dripped out.
Don Kananji's always iced out.
After that, what's interesting is Rukia and Ichigo are going around. They're like, the stupid hollow finder has to be like broken. Where we're getting like, I think this phone's broken because every time we show where hollow is, it's not there anymore. They go back to school. Ichigo kind of explains why he gets. This is what Brandon alluded to earlier. It's not Asta levels of like or Naruto levels of being looked down upon, but all it is I have natural orange hair. Kids make fun of me because I'm different. Staff like harasses me because they think I'm like a punk because of it. I have good grades, so they leave me alone. It's nothing like so tragic, but it definitely sucks. So it's like now we know why Ichigo is like a halfway decent student because he's just kind of I don't know. They have their own preconceived notions of him based on what he looks like. He looks like a punk. So
it also breaks the little shonen convention of the protagonist being dumb.
No,
or at least not like good in school.
Like he's again, like he was 13th, I think, in his class in one of the tests.
Like 18th. Oh, I think he was 13th. Yeah,
he was pretty. Also, important dash. Chad is also very smart because he ranked like 11th.
He is.
Yeah. So we get introduced to at one point. Oh, sorry. We get introduced to Yuryu, who is the reason why they think that their hollow detection is broken. Because Yuryu is so fast at slaying these hollows. Like we in his introduction, he just shows up, pulls out this light bow, and just obliterates one in a Kingdom Come. It was cool. And this is in like chapter 33, 34 territory. He meets Ichigo, gives his little spiel, and is like, I do not like you because I do not like Soul Reapers.
Yeah. Has he said what he is yet?
He's a Quincy.
Yes, he is a Quincy. That's good. That's a good
I
one
don't
to remember.
Don't know what that is. I don't know why they're different than Soul Reapers, but I'll find out eventually.
Yeah,
so,
in this arc, you'll find out.
Yeah, the next day, Ichigo's trying to snoop around and like find him. He goes to talk with Yuryu. Yuryu's like, look, I know everything. I know you're stalking me. I know you. I know Rukia. I know all your little shenanigans going on. I know all about you. I don't like you. Fuck you. That's basically what he's telling him.
Yeah. Verbatim.
I don't like. You're stupid. You're ugly. Give me $200.
That's so true.
And I mean, honestly, the joke kind of fits because he proposes like a game, which I assume would have maybe stakes. That's the last thing I saw, where he tells them Quincy's are different than Soul Reapers. I don't like Soul Reapers. All right, Ichigo, how about a game? And that's where he ends it. He ends it by proposing a game to Ichigo, and Rukia is there watching. Yeah. I don't know what the game is, and I will find out when I start reading it again. But yeah, that was the
certainly will.
I'm going to delete my notes now. Those, at least. That was the first half of the Substitute arc.
Yeah.
And pretty good introduction to Bleach. Yeah, as I said earlier, always nice getting to read a new series that I don't know anything about going in. And surprisingly, Bleach, because it's one of the big three, or like one of the original big three.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of people enjoy it. And yeah, I wish there was more of substance, like typical shonen substance to say, but
I mean, hey, we got 45 minutes out of 35 chapters. It's pretty good.
I'll take it, yeah.
Especially considering my Dragon Ball. Go check out Rat's Nest, link in description.
Yeah. But no, this was a great introduction into the series of Bleach. I assume the next half of the Substitute arc is going to have a lot more meat on the bones. Since
So if I remember correctly, there's this arc with Uryu. Then
chapter 70, and next is 36 to 70.
Yeah, it ends with 70. And I guess it's the question of where exactly does it end? I think there is probably another little mini arc after Uryu, and then we get like the final mini arc of Substitute. Or it could just go straight from Uryu into the last Substitute arc. I can't really remember. I'm going to be reading Bleach, so I guess we both will. So we'll just see. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, so it says it ends on chapter 71, so I'll make a note of that. So yeah, chapter 71, and then we'll just go from there. So thank you again for sitting and letting me somewhat monologue with Bleach. I know that you've read it, you watched it, so
yeah. I mean, this is how Hunter x Hunter was mainly me leading the discussion. Yeah, I don't want to accidentally spoil anything. So, you got any last thoughts, Kyle?
No, not necessarily.
All right.
All I can say is, as a closing remark, I am very much looking forward to Bleach, and I don't think it's going to be any worse than Black Clover. I'm not trying to set myself up there for like an inevitable, oh, you were wrong, it gets really bad, but I don't think it's going to be a bad shonen. I have a feeling about this one. I feel like I'm going to like it.
I certainly hope you do. Well, if you're this far in the video, obviously there's something you like, so make sure to like and subscribe, and check out the Rat's Nest for more content just like this, but with 2, sometimes 3 videos a week, and occasionally a short of me talking about sports. Come and see me and Kyle review Chainsaw Man and One Punch Man, One Piece. I keep making that mistake. It's One Piece every week, and watch me review stuff or stuff that I've been reading. We hope that you all enjoyed this video, and we hope that you all are enjoying Goobers and Screens, which this goes up in October, which is really weird to think about, but it does. So we will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.